Local SEO stands for Local Search Engine Optimization, which is the art of optimizing your website to be found in Google local search results or on Google Maps. In today's video, I'm going to give you 10 local SEO tips you can easily implement yourself, even if you're a complete beginner, so your website gets the traffic that it deserves. If you're ready, let's get cracking. Hey, my name is Luc Durand, the founder of rankingacademy.co.uk. If it's your first time here today, consider subscribing to the channel so you can receive more tips and tricks to help you be found by new local customers. Without further ado, let's start with the first local SEO tip and jump on the computer. Here is my local SEO tip number 1. Make sure you create a dedicated web page on your site for each product that you sell or each service that you provide. Why? Because it will give you additional chances of being found in Google for keywords related to the product or services that you sell. Let me show you an example with a couple of handymen I have found in Phoenix, Arizona. So here is the first website for this handyman called Phoenix Handyman Home Repair. And if I click on their services, on the list of the services, you can see they've kind of like bundled all their services onto one page, which essentially is not a bad idea. But as far as Google is concerned, it's not going to be very helpful to understand what this business is able to provide because there is not enough details and there's very little room for adding more keywords, which is what everybody's searching for. If I just look at this other example, however, of another handyman located also in Phoenix, just hovering on the tab itself gives me a full list of all the services they provide to start with. But if I then drill down on each and every one of these pages, then it's full of useful content, which is going to be great for ranking purposes. There's plenty of keywords that these guys can be found for, which is not going to be the case for the first example. And that's the reason why it's super important you add multiple pages to your website so you can be found for the terms you are targeting. It's just as simple as that. So you understand how important this is. Here is another example for a couple of dentists located in Palm Springs this time. And let's start with the first one called Lake Dental. So clearly these guys have decided to go very minimalist and have only built 3 pages for their website: a home page, an about us page, and a contact us page. And now on their homepage, they've decided to add their services, which I believe is a very big mistake. They should have built a page for each and every service separately. And if I look at the performance in one of my SEO tools, you can see that their ranking is pretty awful, as they're only ranking for a handful of keywords, and their best performance is for Lake Dental Palm Springs, for which they rank number 2. Now let's have a look at another example for another dentist in Palm Springs called psdentist.com. So these guys have built pages for each and every one of the service that they provide, as you can see here. And it really reflects into the performance of their website, because if I go and check where they rank, they have actually collected a number of position 1 across many keywords, and for a broad range of keywords which expands quite wildly. And here is the kicker. If I go into Google and search for teeth whitening Palm Springs, you can see in the results that they rank number 1 in the Google Map pack, and it's also mentioned that they do teeth whitening as part of the listing. And this is the reason why you need to build dedicated pages on your website for the services or products that you offer. Time to move on to local SEO tip number 2. Optimize the meta titles of your pages. This is so simple and yet overlooked by so many of you. If you don't know what meta titles are, here is a quick definition I have found on Google, which I think summarizes it quite well. A meta title is an important part of website optimization, and it's distinct from the headline on the page itself. It acts as a name tag for the web page. The title is displayed on your browser tab and tells you what page you're on. So here is an example for this electrician. If I go on this website and I hover on the tab of the browser, you can see it says electrician in London on call 24 hours a day from the actual brand aspect. But the meta titles are also read by search engine robots and seen by users searching the web. So again, if I go back to what I can see for this website in the search results, the same title shows up here in the search results. Moreover, if you visit the developer.google.com information about meta title, you will see that meta title sends important signals to search engines. And that's why it's important you must include the right keywords in them to send the right signals. And in this instance, it's even specified that you should avoid vague description like home for your homepage or profile for a specific person's profile. Let me show you an example of how badly this has been done on a dry cleaning website located in Massachusetts, I think. So if I check these guys' meta titles for the homepage, sure enough, it just says home and the name of the brand. And clearly nobody is going to be searching for either of those keywords. So it's unlikely that these guys are going to be ranking for the keywords they're targeting. And if I check the multiple pages they've got on their websites, it follows the very same pattern: services and the name of the brand. Now let me show you another example where it's been done very well. Again, for a dry cleaning, eco-friendly, located in San Diego. And if I hover on the homepage and the tab, you can see it says San Diego's best green dry cleaner and laundry service. So here we've got multiple keywords that are being targeted, such as San Diego, dry cleaner, laundry service. And if you do this and review all your pages and optimize your meta titles, there is a great chance your visibility will increase almost overnight. Time to move on to local SEO tip number 3. Turn your content into powerful links. If you're new to local SEO, you may not know that links play a huge part in the visibility of your website in Google search results. There are two types of links: external links and internal links. External links are links pointing to your website from other websites, and they're generally quite difficult to get. Internal links you're completely in control of, and you can actually decide what that link is going to be like and make it work for the keywords that you are targeting. Let me jump on the computer and show you exactly what I mean. Here is a website for a lawyer who offers plenty of services, including personal injury. Let's say they want to optimize their website and rank better for the term personal injury claims. One trick you can do is to look for content on your website across the pages, search for that very word if it's mentioned anywhere, and turn it into a link which you will then point to that very page. Let me show you how you can easily do this. Go to Google and search for Google Advanced and type the exact word or phrase that you are trying to locate on the content of your website. So personal injury claim. And then you want to do your research exclusively within that site. All you need to do is add the website address in the site or domain field. So in this instance, I'm just going to copy and paste it. Here we go. And click on advanced search. So this is going to search for the keyword personal injury claim across all the pages available on this website. And if I go to the very first one here, for example, and do a search for personal injury claim, you can see that word exactly. It's mentioned 3 times. All you need to do is turn these little phrases into links that will point directly to this page. And that will boost the relevance of that page for that term, helping it to rank higher in Google and drive more traffic to your website. You can do that for any word on any page. Time to move on to local SEO tip number 4. Add the location you are targeting in key parts of your site. Whenever someone is searching for a local business in Google, they generally type the service or product that they're after, followed by the name of the city, the town, or the neighborhood in which they live to find the nearest provider. And that's why it's important you include the relevant keyword as part of your content, but that also includes the actual city or location where your business is trying to attract customers from. There are some key places within your website where you should add that information. Let me show you with an example of a landscape gardener based in Wichita. So here is the example of a local business who's optimized his homepage very well with their location information because they've added it in the key areas I've already mentioned. Let me break it down for you. Starting with the page title. So if I hover on the tab, like we've already seen before, they've added the location information within the page title. Since this is a key element when it comes to local SEO and the signals that you send to Google, it's super important you put it in there. Additionally, it's also visible in the headline. The headline is also a very important aspect of optimization when it comes to your website. So consider adding your location information there. It's also mentioned as part of one of their testimonials right there. And if I continue scrolling down, it's also added in here and in here. And if I do a search, you can see it's actually mentioned 7 times throughout the page. So this is a very strong signal to Google that says this business is located in Wichita. You should also consider adding the location term within the description of your page, which is what's going to show in Google search results. So when people are looking for a business like yours, it will be indicated in the actual result itself. And that will be really helpful for Google and the users. Now let me show you another example for another landscape gardener who hasn't done any of this. So this business is also located in Wichita, and the only reason I know it is because I've done a search in Google Maps and I had to scroll all the way down to find her. Unfortunately for this lady, she hasn't mentioned once throughout her entire website that she's located in Wichita, not even in the actual contact us page. So it is highly unlikely she will ever rank very high in Google for anyone searching for a landscape designer in Wichita. And that's why it's super important that you include your location in those key areas, because it will help you rank for the city or the location you are targeting. Now, time to move on to local SEO tip number 5. Create a Google My Business listing. I wasn't sure whether or not I should include this as part of the list because I assume that most of you who are watching this video have already created a listing for your business on Google. If you haven't, please do it today. If that's the only thing that you do, then be it. Creating a Google listing will help your business be found on Google search results, on Google Maps results, and drive traffic to your website if you have one. I won't linger too much on this topic because I believe most of you have already done that. But if you haven't and you don't know where to start, go and check my video on how to set up a Google My Business listing. Time to move on to local SEO tip number 6. Create a business listing on Bing. If you don't know what Bing is, it is the search engine that has been developed and created by Microsoft to compete with Google. Although it's nowhere near as popular as Google, it can still drive a significant amount of visitors to your website. All you need to do is make sure you create a listing for your business so it can show up in the Bing map, which is very similar to Google Maps. There are 3 good reasons why you should create a listing on Bing. The very first one is it's totally free. The second one is it takes no time to set up if you've already set up a Google My Business listing. Let me show you why. To set up a listing on Bing, you just need to go to bingplaces.com, and then on the main screen, if it's the first time you're using it, just go to New User. Then you will have the option to actually import the data from your Google My Business listing if you've created one, and click on Import from Google My Business and follow the process. That's it. It will just set it up for you. Now, what about the third reason? Well, check this out. Alexa, what's my nearest electrician?
I found a few nearby ones. There's Sentinel Electrical Services on Haggard Road, Axton Company Electrical on Cole Park Road,
Alexa,
and Ford Electricians on...
Thank you. So just in case you didn't know, Amazon Alexa uses Bing to return search results from questions they are being asked through their users, and that include local business results. So that's the third reason why you should create a listing on Bing for your business. Let's now move on to our next local SEO tip, which is tip number 7. Add your business to Apple Maps. Do you own one of these? If you do, that means you're like half the population who owns a mobile phone, and half that population will have Apple Maps downloaded by default on their iPhone. And a lot of these people will be using it to search local businesses. That's why it's important to add your business to Apple Maps. Let me show you how you can do that. Head over to Google and search for Add Your Business to Apple Maps. Then click on the link that says Get Started Places on Maps. Click on the Got It to acknowledge the first pop-up, and then type your business name in in the main box to see whether or not your business already exists on Apple Maps. If it does, just select it and then click on claim, then follow the process. If it doesn't, then all you need to do is add it as a missing place. You will need to create an Apple ID before you can continue, but once you've done that, it will take no time before your business start appearing on Apple Maps. Time to move on to our next local SEO tip, which is number 8. List your business in key directories that show at the top of Google search results. Because of its dominance in search, Google has been legally obliged in certain countries to include external sources of information as part of its results. And that comes in the form of directories. The beauty of this is they sit right at the top of search results, which is another opportunity for you to get more traffic for your website. Let me show you how it works. So head over to Google and search for a keyword that you're trying to rank your business for. Let's say I'm a plumber and I want to rank for boiler repair near me, and then click on search. And as you can see, as you scroll down just below the AdWords campaign, you can see a list of other results available on certain directories. In this instance, we've got Check a Trade, Trusted Trader, Yale, Gumtree, Fantastic Services. If your business is not listed on those directories, make sure you add it. It will generate more traffic. Time to move on to our next local SEO tip, which is SEO tip number 9. Get some external links pointing to your website. External links are defined as links pointing from other websites to your website. They are extremely important if you want to improve the visibility of your business in search results. They are generally quite difficult to get. But as a local business owner, there are a few links that you can easily build to your site without having to work too hard. Here are a few examples. So this is the example of an electrician who is actually fully approved by the organization that regulates the training and the work of electrical services in the UK, called NYCEIC. And if you go on this guy's website, you can see he's actually listed there and has his own website, and that costs nothing, and it's a very good link to link back to that website. Here is another example for a carpet cleaner who is part of the association that is called the NCCA, which is the National Carpet Cleaners Association. Again, he is listed on the actual association's website. Once again, an easy link to get. Another one you can consider is maybe reaching out to your Chamber of Commerce and get your business listed there, which would include a link to your website. Another easy one is maybe getting in touch with your local blogger. In this example, on this blog, they've even built a full directory of all the local businesses which are present in the area, which is great as they also include links to website. There are plenty of other options you should consider. This is just a tiny sample, but they are simple to implement. Take time to build some of these and you will see a significant difference in the visibility of your website in Google search results, and as a result, an increase in your traffic. Let's move on to our last and final local SEO tip. Local SEO tip number 10. Check your analytics. So you're implementing all these tips and it's all going very well, but you're not quite sure whether or not it's working out. And as they say, you cannot improve what you can't measure. Thankfully, there's plenty of tools out there you can use in order to understand how well you're doing and if your performance is improving. Let's have a look at the 3 tools that I recommend you check out regularly to make sure that whatever you're doing is working out. Let's start with Google My Business. As part of Google My Business, there's an insight option that gives you data to measure how efficient your Google My Business listing is. And if you improve your website, your Google My Business will improve along with it. So you should definitely see an improvement in the performance there. The second tool I recommend is Google Search Console. Google Search Console helps you monitor your site presence in Google search results. Again, it's full of super rich, valuable information, and more specifically, how well you're ranking for what keyword. And finally, Google Analytics. This will give you details about the performance of the activity that's going on your website, and you should check that regularly. That's it. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time dwelling on these analytics tools, and you should make a regular slot in your schedule to check these at least once a week to see whether or not you're making improvement. That's it, guys. You have it. 10 local SEO tips for you to implement. Make sure you do, because it will pay off. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if it was your first time here, remember to subscribe. And until next time, happy marketing.